Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you with episode 14. My apologies for the delay. I really want to stay on track with this, but last week was my anniversary, and I did go away out of town with my wife to celebrate 30 years of marriage, and so that was a nice weekend getaway. But as a result, I dropped off a week, and so here I am, episode 14, Deaths Under Dominion, another one by Charles Crichton, who's already given us a few. And this one, of course, you got to throw my shout out to Shout Factory for the wonderful Blu-ray set that they put out. Just an incredible year one, year two, and a supplementary disc or discs. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So episode, this is probably going to be really, really super short. I did revisit this a few days ago. This one, you know, we talk about notable characters, guest appearances. Brian Blessed, is that his name? He was Prince Bolton. Is it Bolton on Flash Gordon, and the guy who plays Gaius on Gladiator. He plays Jack Tanner, and Blessed plays Rowland, Dr. Rowland. Man, he's sort of your Dr. Frankenstein character, you know, from Day of the Dead. You know, he's doing all these experiments that he ought not to be doing. Anyway, so Deaths Under Dominion, man, another solid episode, man, in Space 1999, in our first year run here, and our illustrious crew of Moonbase Alpha, Moonbase Alpha. They come across a planet that initially has maybe some possibilities of inhabiting, but very quickly they realize, nah, this is a snow-covered planet and too hostile of an environment. But then they get a transmission, and they decide to send an eagle, drop down, and very quickly, man, they almost get lost out in this sort of Antarctic wilderness. And but the inhabitants, there is a crew, Earth people from was it 86? They went on a Uranus expedition that ultimately was a disaster, and the crew lost. You know, think of it, Event Horizon, right? Just lost, man, and they just assume they're all dead. Somehow they end up on this planet Ultima Thule, and Captain Dr. Rowland decides he is going to start. I don't even know why. I don't think a lot went into the whole aspect of why he was experimenting, or how, or why, or what he was doing. But out of all of this junk comes this idea that they have somehow discovered immortality, which, when you think about Victor Bergman and Helena, they both sort of grasp onto that idea. And while Koenig remains our skeptic, our cynic, there's this tension again, right, between, this is probably not what it's all cracked up to be. And by the end, of course, we find out and realize it is not what it's all cracked up to be. So they live on this inhospitable planet. They've been there forever, maybe around 880 years, so-called. Although there might have been a time travel thing that might have happened. We're not really sure. But these people believe they are immortal. And they have refitted their spacecraft to start this incredible jaunt across space. And just as Koenig and them show up, so there's this tension, and Rowland has other things going on in his mind. He's not all there, and ultimately he wants, and he's familiar with Moonbase Alpha, which is interesting. So that tells you that Moonbase Alpha was around when the Uranus expedition went up, right? Which is interesting. It was either 86 or 88. And so there's that tie-in. So, you know, every once in a while you start to learn a little bit more of Moonbase Alpha's past. And so there's a whole lot of tension and friction. There's the party that lands on Ultima Thule. Really, you wonder if they're going to become the prisoners of Dr. Rowland, Jack Tanner. He is your sort of prophet figure. He is sort of your loony guy, but every time he starts to prophesize, he ends up being right, it seems, which Rowland can't seem to figure out. And so there's a tension between Rowland and Tanner that's pretty cool to watch. And Yeah, and it sort of all just kind of culminates to a boiling point where you finally get Rowland he wants to make a plea, a case to Moonbase Alpha himself, and so they decide. Koenig decides to allow him to. This will lead to Rowland's demise. See, the problem with their idea of immortality, whether they really are immortal or not, I'm not sure if that is really ever answered. But the thing is it's kind of like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. With immortality comes a price, and the price here apparently is you can never leave Ultima Thule. And Rowland will find this out firsthand. A very fascinating scene, very interesting scene. A little grisly too for its time, I think, maybe TV and all. So that's it. That's interesting. So that's sort of kind of what's going on. I'm trying to think if there was anything like really, really specific. I guess not. Just the set design again. You got a planet that really resembles like Hothwell, which again is interesting, right? Because you got two of your miniatures experts, your visual effects artists, that will leave Space 1999 and head over to George Lucas's company, and will have a big part to do with Empire Strikes Back. And of course, we know you have the whole Hoth scene, which, by the way, if you've never seen that on 4K, that is out of this world. It is fantastic. So there's just, you wonder when these people have their meetings, their closed door meetings, and they're brainstorming ideas, and what about this and what about that, and it makes you wonder how many times some of these guys will be like, well, back on Space 1999, hey, back on Space 1999, you wonder how these ideas kind of move over into the realm of things that we will eventually see in Star Wars and the Star Trek films, and some of these things that's interesting. Yeah, so this was so the set design, their location where they were filming, probably what's the in London where everything big is filmed, not in England where everything Pinewood Studios, of course. So they literally made you feel like you were really on a Hoth-like planet, in a very closed way, because they just didn't have the ability to do a whole lot back then. But man, it is masterfully done in terms of its look, aesthetically, and everything. And the miniatures, of course, everything you see is just still holds up to today. You can't speak enough to the credit of these guys and gals who put so much work and energy into creating this really insanely good TV show that really does hold up in many ways. Now remember, this is a child of, more or less a child of The Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, than it ever was of Star Trek that preceded it. And so it has some really weirdness to it, which makes it fun. I mean, really, really, really fun. So anyways, I think I'm just going to kind of close it out there before I ramble too much. This is another fun episode, one in which I have a love for the aesthetically for its environment, just being on this very hostile, snow cold, snowy planet. And that was really, really, really cool to enjoy. Next one coming up, I guess, is The Full Circle. And so we'll be taking a look at that throughout the week, and appreciate all the support, appreciate just the views and everything. And I think this week, besides my body bags review, I'll be dropping another Italian one. I'm pretty sure Demons. I'm going to drop that one. That one accidentally got skipped as well, but I think I may just drop it this week and, yeah, do it like that. So anyways, as always, go Bills.